Working on our mindset is a lifelong challenge. I'm continually amazed at how our mindset shapes our experiences. And if you're in business, how it shapes the results in your business. Many times we cannot see what we're thinking or how we're thinking or what our assumptions are, what our expectations are, what our point of view is. But it shows up certainly in our results, and often other people can see it and can hear it in our language. I know for a long time I used to feel, because I had worked so hard, even working during high school, that achieving something was going to be a struggle. It was certainly a struggle for me to go to school and work at the same time. It was certainly a struggle for me to do certain things to get my career going and certain things to get my businesses going. And so looking at that experience, it's easy to look at that and say, well, it's going to be difficult. And then you bring that attitude into the next experience, and perhaps it's not going to be as difficult or shouldn't be as difficult as it is, but you've brought that experience into your situation. Now, a lot of times you just can't see that. You can't see that that is something that you're thinking, but it's in your language, it's in your actions, it's in your assumptions, it's in your demeanor, it's in everything that you're doing, and you just can't see it. So you look at someone, and I often tell this story. When I worked on Wall Street, there would be people who would come out of high school or some junior college, and they would come into the trading rooms, and they were told, okay, here's what this desk makes. They would be involved in some kind of financial trading. And back then it was very common that someone in your family, someone in the neighborhood, someone that you knew would bring you into this experience where you could learn how to trade these instruments. And they'd be told, look, this is what this desk makes. This is what this desk should gross. And these people didn't know any better. And so they did what they were told to do. They learned the process, and they were able to get that desk to function and produce at the level of their assumptions and their expectations. Now, there would be some who would not be able to achieve that based on the kind of assumptions and expectations they brought to the job. How often have you seen someone achieve something and you wonder, how did they accomplish that? They didn't know anybody, they didn't know the industry, they didn't really know how to do that, and yet here they are in this situation. Well, they didn't have any barriers in their mind, they didn't have any blocks, they didn't have anything that was contradicting their ability to do that. And if they're able to do that along the rungs of the ladder going up in their career and in their business, they'll continue to do that. Most people have difficulty doing that because they will reach a level where there will be some level of resistance, if you will. There'll be some level of obstacle that they will see, and that will activate a different perspective and different actions and different responses, and their potential will be muted. They won't be able to quite get where they can get. It's why working on your psychology is so important. Do you believe that you're able to accomplish what you want? Do you believe that you can learn what's required? Do you believe if you do the work, you'll get the results? Do you believe that irrespective of what people say, and irrespective of how it might appear in the short term, that your progress and your success is assured? Do you believe, as one of my books says, that you can still win despite the difficulties that you might be going through? I think that it's worth examining your mindset deeply. And you might need some help doing that. You might need to listen to yourself carefully. You might need to ask others to listen to yourself. You might need to write down, what are my assumptions about the world, about my industry, about this career, about this client, about this experience? What are my assumptions? What do I expect from this experience? What do I expect from myself? What do I expect? Expectations are important. In fact, expectations are a direct link to what you will achieve. And when you maintain those expectations, you'll make it happen. Being here in New York, I see many people come to New York with the expectation that I am going to figure it out. They come to one of the most expensive cities in the world, and they figure it out. They figure out how to get an apartment, how to get employment, how to build their network, how to progress in an industry, how to launch a business, launch a project. They get connected with the right people because that's their expectation. And then I see people born in New York, raised in New York, and are unable to achieve the same thing. I remember having a conversation with a young man. I took him to a fundraiser at Rockefeller Center. Beautiful fundraiser at a law firm in Rockefeller Center. And we went, he enjoyed it. And as we were leaving, it was a warm summer night. We were walking through the city, and he said, I've never bothered to come over here. And I said, what do you mean come over here? And he said, well, I grew up just 3 blocks away. And I said, what do you mean you grew up 3 blocks away? And he said, yes, just 3 blocks away I grew up. And I just felt like this area was not for me. Now, he literally grew up 3 blocks away from this magnificent collection of buildings and shops and NBC studios, the Rainbow Room and so forth. And he had never been there. He had never walked by there. He was never curious what was over there. And he had, in fact, been attending a series of lectures I had been giving back then. And I encouraged everyone to go out and do something they hadn't done before, to go to a place they hadn't been to before. And I talked about the Rainbow Room, legendary Rainbow Room where there was ballroom dancing, and it's certainly a place where titans of industry meet, where there are power lunches and so forth. And I said, you should go check it out. They were remodeling it at the time, and you should go and have yourself a lunch there. And he did. He went to the Rainbow Room, to his credit, and while he was there, he saw the late David Rockefeller before he had passed, and said to him that, this is my first time here, and it's really exciting to be here, and so forth. And this was something that was within his reach, within his capabilities. He grew up 3 blocks away, but it was something that he had not done because his mindset was that this is not for him. Now imagine what else was in that psychology. And this is what I'm talking about. It might be something you never think about until someone says, hey, have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? I was in an elevator in, I think it was Atlanta, and I was going up to a rooftop restaurant, and the elevator doors opened and a couple came in, and they said, does this go to, and they named the floor, maybe the 16th floor, and I said, no, this is an express to the rooftop restaurant, whatever the name was, I forget the name of it. And they looked at each other like, oh boy. And their implication in their look, because they did say a few things, I forget what they said specifically, but The subtext was that this is going to a place that isn't for us. And I took stock of that. I took stock of that moment. And I think that that really spoke to their mindset. And it certainly will speak to what they will be capable of achieving in their life. So examine your mindset. Think about the words you use. Think about the language you use. Think about the assumptions you have. Think about your expectations. Think about what you believe goes with the package in your industry, in your position, in your role, and rewrite that. Overwrite that. And begin to focus on redefining what your experience should be. If you're in business, think of your business as one that can be successful, one that can be able to achieve the kinds of things that you want to achieve on a daily basis. And begin to take that inspiration and start acting on the inspiration as it comes to you and doing some new things. If you're in a career, and that career is something that you enjoy and you want more of, begin to believe that that's something that can happen for you, and begin to take steps to act more and more in that fashion. If you're out there knocking on doors, trying to sell your products or services, and for whatever reason you haven't been able to do that, begin to see yourself doing that successfully. And begin to carry that forward in the way you think about what you do, the way you talk about what you do, the way you prepare for what you do, the way you approach the interaction with the client, the way you develop your skills in all the aspects and all the levels of selling. Your mindset matters. It matters. And it's a lifelong process working on our mindset and uprooting those things that are contradictory or complicate or prevent us from achieving what it is that's important to us. It's within our reach, but we've got to reshape the way we think about it. If you like this tip, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more coming for you. And share this with someone that you think would benefit from this. And I'll have a lot more for you. I'll see you next time.